You're listening to KNX In Depth with Rob Archer. I'm Charles Feldman.
Hollywood actors and studios are meeting again today to try to end the strike and get productions back up and running.
Now, this comes after SAG-AFTRA spent yesterday reviewing the latest counteroffer from studios. Back with us is entertainment attorney Tre Lovell. Tre, thanks for being with us. Are you there?
I am.
Oh, there you are. Okay, we thought we lost you.
I'm
there.
sorry.
No.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for being with us. Tell us what, if anything, you know about if there's been any progress made.
Well, I think they were supposed to meet, I believe it was yesterday, and they held off and then pushed it a day, which I think is good. You know, they're kind of getting down to the wire with the networks. It looks like, you know, the summer 2024 releases may be affected, you know, within if the strike continues over the next few weeks, as well as some of the TV shows for next year. So I think the studios are getting very, very serious. And I think we're going to start making some really quick strides at least within the next 10 days. But they're just, you know, the real impasse is the compensation. It's the increase in the minimums for the actors, as well as the streaming revenue, which has just been a bare knuckle fight this whole time.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the revenue sharing the deal on the streaming. Obviously, it looks like the studios have kind of planted their flag there. They weren't going to budge. The actors union planted its flag there. They're not going to budge on it. So who is going to win that fight?
Well, this is interesting because the studios are just kind of parroting the deals they had with the WGA and with the Directors Guild. In terms of this how to add to the streaming compensation based on kind of if the actors are tied to certain movies that hit a certain threshold within about 90 days, they're going to get this bonus structure like they're going to get to the writers. However, the actors are trying to tie it to all subscription revenue. And the problem is if they do that, then you know, after 3 years, when the WGA and DGA come up for renewal, they're going to want a piece of the pie too. So the producers are really resistant to offering a piece of all the subscription revenue, because that's just going to lead to a snowball effect down the road with all the unions.
When all of the strikes began, the writers, the directors, the actors, there were lots of people who said that when the job action comes to an end, Hollywood as we know it would be radically changed. Well, two of the unions have now settled. Perhaps SAG-AFTRA will shortly. Did that prophecy turn out to be true, do you think? Is Hollywood going to be radically changed?
No, not at this point. It's not going to be radically changed. Some change was needed because of the different revenue structures and the way that the studios and the networks, you know, earn the income. So change was inevitable. And the fact that the other two unions were largely able to get their ducks in order. SAG's going to come, you know, sooner than later, I believe. And then it'll be just kind of trying to get back from behind. But no, I don't think anything has been drastically changed. If anything, some of the TV shows may get pushed. Some of the release dates may get pushed. But everything will resume under this new structure based on these three new union contracts with the respective guilds. And I think, you know, they're going to make up for a lot of lost time.
All right, so let's say that SAG-AFTRA settles the strike. They make a deal. They're happy with it. Part of the fallout does appear to be that the creators' unions are in a new position of power. But there's other fallout, too. Is there fear that the studios down the road are going to say, you know what, now we've got to pony up more dough. It is too expensive for us to produce in Hollywood, and that's going to hurt the local economy because they're going to really start pushing to produce elsewhere where it's cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's happening is the studios are really careful in terms of setting the standard. If they let the unions start getting into their total revenue streams through calculations like that, as well as kind of these artificial intelligence scenarios which haven't been resolved, it's going to create a big problem down the road. in terms of their overhead, in terms of some other things that you suggested in terms of shooting here, maybe going elsewhere. So they can never go backwards. If they do a deal now with SAG, they can never undo it down the road. It's always just going to go forward. And the unions largely watch each other. So you got to treat them somewhat, the same or equally. And so SAG is making it tough. SAG is kind of carving out some different terms than the other unions had agreed to, and these are barrier breaking terms. And so I think they're going to agree to a model largely posed by the networks, but networks are just going to have to come up with a lot more in terms of what that bonus structure is going to be. But yeah, I mean, it's really preserving the future. I mean that the networks and studios can live with this deal for the next 3 years, even as SAG offered it. It's what's beyond that, and it's the whole entertainment industry that could be affected.
All right, entertainment attorney Tre Lovell, thanks for joining us. SAG-AFTRA, the studio's back at the table, continuing their negotiations. Maybe, who knows? We might be close to an end and a deal on this strike.